Welcome, everybody. This is Shinobi. Welcome to the Shinobi Podcast. I got my homies here for the first episode.
Just kidding. What's good, y'all?
We just got to go down the panel, let everybody introduce themselves. Let the people know a little bit about you, what you do. Inform the people.
I'm gonna go first. I'm Xero. You already know me. I'm a whole entity. I'm kidding. I am, but at the same time, I make music. I don't know why I'm saying all this. Hold up.
Go. Speak into the mic.
Right. Is that a test? Another test?
No, we in it.
No, we're in it.
Go.
In it. Okay, I forgot. All right, then.
Speak up too.
All right. Hold up. This is a lot of pressure.
Peace. What's going on, everybody? My name's Tsunami. Man, just a young little boy from Brooklyn. You know what I mean? Grew up in Naples. Grew up with my man Jorge over here as well. Hi. Couple things I'm into. I love music. I'm into music management. I manage this guy right here. My name is Xero. No Hero. Check him out on socials at Xero No Hero. I also work at a real estate law firm. You know what I mean? Throw Kelp Law. Holla at the team. You know what I mean? If you guys need any, if you and your folks, you know anybody that needs any help with their real estate needs as well as business needs, start with LLC. You know what I mean? Business asset purchases, whatever, real estate planning, not real estate, estate planning, trust, wills, come on, help you out there. But in the meantime, I'm here kicking with my guys in my comfort zone, having a good time, ready to talk about life. Whatever the hell we want to talk about, honestly. You know what I mean?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know what I mean? Take everything off the back. You know what I mean? So, let's rock out.
One thing I noticed, let's stay off the table. The mic is picking up those creeps like a motherfucker.
Okay.
And I just noticed it while I was listening. So, let's just be mindful. I'm going to pass the mic to the homie.
What's up, guys? George here, dog trainer, enthusiast of many different things. Invited here from Shinobi Sage. Oh, well, Shinobi. What should I call you? Because you don't have an Instagram anymore, I guess. And I was going off handles because they went off handles. Anyways, moving on.
Just call me King, homie.
Okay, Mr. King. Invited me to this podcast. We've been talking about it for a while. Originally from Mexico City. Grew up in Naples, Florida. With the boy. Straight directly into the mic, he said. So just out here trying to have a good time, have a good conversation. Find me on social media as Pointy Ear Training. Let's get it.
Alright, baby, there we go. So let's get started, man. I really wanted to get into this topic because it's very important to me. I was sitting and reflecting the other day, just thinking back to where I was, as a person, as a man, and where I am now. And I really started looking back and really looking at my progress, Because a lot of times we have such high expectations of ourselves and we're hard on ourselves. And we don't realize that while we're in it, experiencing it, we're developing into who we are right now. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
So I got it in my life. I want to make sure that I'm always looking at that process, kind of seeing where I need to put this as a fucking puzzle piece. Okay, I need to kind of switch this up, switch that up.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same
Playing
time,
with the formula.
yeah, but at the same time accepting exactly where I am now. Because I've gotten this far because of all of the past. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this year specifically for me has been very, I would say, eye-opening, challenging. This might have been one of the most challenging years I've ever had.
And why is that?
I could go very deep with that. I would say more emotionally, not a physical type of thing. Emotionally and spiritually, it was difficult.
Internal.
Because I had to learn to let go of a lot of things that were dragging me down. But it was for some reason, it was just fucking hard to let that shit go. And I had to understand it was a process, and it's a continuous process. You know what I'm saying? And, okay.
Now, I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that. As far as paying, like not holding a grudge, but necessarily not feeling like you got your piece off? Is that what you mean?
That was like pretty much in a nutshell. I had some evil, I had some grudges I was holding, and I had to really let it go, like actually clean that shit out of me. Because it was there. Like it was there heavy.
Process.
I feel that. That's
Like-
still working, man.
What happened?
Huh?
What happened? I feel like, dude, how was Haiti, by the way?
Which one you want me to answer, Nick?
Okay, how was Haiti? How was
Haiti?
Yeah.
Well, Haiti, dude, that was a big part of the eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
Dude, when I went over there, when I went over there and experienced that, like, and being amongst the people over there, like, dude, it's like, you know, over here you would perceive them as having nothing just because they don't have material things.
Yeah,
But
Absolutely. They have everything.
bro, they got
They have
everything.
everything.
They're
life.
self-sufficient. They're actually free. They fucking
Free as hell.
they.
That's the main thing I was waiting for.
Yeah, they have community. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They actually have community, which is huge. Everybody shares everything. Everybody helps one another because everybody's in the same fucking thing. And when you go there and experience that, especially coming from here, because like, look around us. You see all this fucking luxury?
Luxury everywhere. Especially this
your
town,
neighbor, you
man.
don't even know your neighbor at all. Like, you know, in Haiti, you know all your neighbors and everything. But over here, like, it's
not a village.
It's not a village.
Yeah, it's almost like
I know my neighbors.
Well, yeah. Okay, yeah.
honestly, it's almost like our society and the government and shit. They want us to like be detached from one another. They want us to fucking spy on one another and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, with my next door neighbor, we started like talking more and helping each other out more because, you know, I grew up with those values.
Right. You talk to your neighbor.
Yeah, you talk to
say
your
hi,
neighbor,
yeah.
you fucking know everybody. Like,
Me too, yeah.
this detached nature, it's like, it really bothers me sometimes. But, you know, you gotta accept this shit.
Gotta get through it, man.
You know what I'm saying? But,
So back on track. What happened as far as like
There was a good and a bad.
if I mean depending on how personal you want to get, you know, that's all up to you. But you know what I mean? As far as if you have something that you want to share that you can share that you say was one of those kind of spiritual battles that you had to go through to like
oh, I had to let
What
go
was
of,
the eye opening?
I had to let go of a lot of hatred for my daughter's mom.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Heard.
Like, I really had to, like, because, you know, that was and it was for both of us, like, on both ends, you know what I'm saying? It was very traumatizing for both of us, because we were both young and
I don't
fucking,
want to say that. You gotta find
Young, dumb, and full of
yeah,
cum.
then we had a kid, you get a kid thrown into the fucking dynamic, and then it's like, bickering back and forth, and then you're not agreeing on how to raise the child, and that shit just explodes,
It's toxic.
you know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah, kid usually wants himself. Man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's-
not fair.
That's the big thing, you know. Because I realized that, you know, the hatred I had for her at that moment, it was creating distance between me and my daughter.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And I really had to stop fucking being selfish.
Yeah.
And let that shit go. You know what I'm saying? And I put every fucking practice in place you can fucking think of. Meditation, exercise, reading, being in the fucking sun, going to the beach. Everything fucking possible. Everything I needed. And it was a priority. Like, I took that over damn near anything else because if you're not right, bro, you know, what are you going to go out there and do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I really...
Physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Both aspects have to be, full of, in retrospect.
Yeah. So I had to be selfish in the sense of everybody that cares and loves for me, loves me, like, you gotta understand that I need to go off on my own and, like, figure this shit out.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And Haiti, going back to Haiti, that was a biggie for me, going there. Because I felt I needed to go there.
Spiritually?
Yeah. Most people that I told about it, they can only fucking think about the danger and this and that and what's going on in the country. None of that ever fucking bothered me the entire time. I was aware of it, of course. Never fucking bothered me. Never fucking deterred me from going, taking that plane.
It's
And
very in your face too. So it's just like you know it, and then you just after that everybody disregards it, and they just live their lives. Yeah, that's how it is. It's like everybody knows the danger. Like somebody all the dangers. We all knew about it. It's not a secret. Nobody's holding anything back. Because the government is not.
You grew up
to
there.
play. Yeah, I grew up there. I grew up there until like 11 years old, maybe 11, 12.
What would you say are some of the biggest differences as far as how communities interact with one another, Haiti and here?
I would say, I don't know, I guess it's the kids. The kids, the main thing is because what actually brings people together, I'm realizing, is kids. You know what I mean? Because kids don't care that much. The adults, we try to judge too much, and the kids are not non-judgmental at all. So kids, if you really realize it, the reason why you know your neighbor or whatever it is because maybe the kids have something to do with it or something, especially in Haiti, because, everybody wanted to hang out with each other. But, the grown-ups were busy, but the kids were hanging out and stuff like that, so they became like a cousin, but, they're not real cousins, but we call them cousins.
Yeah, so we grew up together.
We grew up together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difference I see here. You know what I mean? So they do hang out and everything. The kids around the neighborhood probably do hang out, but not as much as, the Haitian community.
I think that kind of.
I can go ahead. Go.
I think that kind of has to do with community, though, not necessarily kids.
Baby.
Because you build a community around your kids per se,
Yeah.
but it's the community that you live in that builds that. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
That neighborhood.
That really makes sense.
You live your entire child life in that specific neighborhood, and so did Tsunami or whoever. Obviously, you're gonna get to know those people and then their parents, and then those parents become friends with those parents because of the connection of your kids. So in a way, you're right, but it's all community. Like when you have that concept of community, I agree with you. I grew up in Mexico for a couple of years, so I see the difference between going out there and everybody saying, hey, hello, good morning, hey, hi, how are you doing? Hey, nice to see you, hey. Versus here, sometimes you make eye contact with people and it's like, they don't even want to, the eye contact in their direction. Look away so he doesn't talk to me. And it's super weird.
It's not even their fault, too.
Coming from a community or a space where everyone's like, hello, hi, good morning, how are you?
Yeah, or hug each other, or hey, what's
that's so
up?
funny.
Hey.
Yeah, I was just having that conversation with someone where I had to retrain my mindset of saying hi to people when I came back from Mexico City, because in Mexico City, most times you say hi to a female, you dab her up and then you give her a kiss on the cheek. I had to rewire my entire brain to not do that and understand that it was weird in this culture. And just little things like that I see differences in other countries, because I'm sure that people are affectionate in Haiti.
Yeah.
You see Italian people being affectionate to the point that they'll, just like Spanish cultures, will give males of affection a kiss on the cheek and a hug. It's not weird or anything. It's just how you say hi.
Respect.
Yeah, it's respect. Absolutely, to your elders, to the people you love and care for. That's how you say hi. And here it's very hey, so people almost don't even want to touch you, and it's I feel like that's the disconnection of community.
So,
that's my opinion.
That's very valid. That was both of you guys have very valid points. I'm a feeling of both y'all because I have someone I want to talk about too. So for you, I think, in my opinion, I feel like what you were trying to say is over there, kids play outside and have fun.
Outside.
Yeah. Whereas here now, you don't really see that shit no more because I think, in my opinion, technology has kind of took that away from them in a sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas you kind of almost slight your child if they're not fucking with technology, almost because the way the world is going, which is kind of a double-edged sword. But it's also balanced where you gotta make sure that they have that time frame outside and go fucking cut your knee up or something
I'm big on that, bro.
I'm doing that.
Sure.
But are we gonna say something?
Yeah, but to feed into yours, what you were saying about community, it's kind of weird, man, because I remember in the U.S. actually at one point, at least, I can't speak for everywhere, but me growing up in New York City, the blocks that I grew up on, there was super
different.
I mean, sure, but there was super community in my neighborhoods, and it wasn't even it was I had cousins all through the block, but even people that weren't our cousins, if I remember one time I crossed the street without an adult, and this lady was my babysitter. This older lady, she told my mom later that night. My mom slapped me up, you know what I mean? But even if she wasn't there, my mom would give her permission, yo, next time,
Get a little boing.
You know what I mean? But it kept people in line, you know what I mean? But also, what I was gonna say is I feel like there was a time frame in the U.S. like I'd say like the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s was like a very golden era. Like sadly after 9/11, I feel like the world was at a weird like camaraderie together. Like we kind of came together where it was like the neighborhood thing was okay. Where it was like you may not look like me, but we from the same motherfucking country type shit. And like it was the first time we were on the defense. It was like everybody came together. Sadly, it was under those like. Circumstances.
It usually ends up working like that, man.
Yeah, but it was like, I remember there was a time frame where there was like peace in America. Like, you know what I mean? Like where everybody got along, kind of. And it was, that sense of community was around where you could go outside and everybody said, what's up? Like, how you doing today? You know what I mean? You could have that conversation with your neighbor or with a regular random stranger and, not be weird. Where I think people just, like I said, going back to social media and as time grew on, just, I guess you can throw politics into. You can throw a lot of things into the mix. You know what I mean? Altering, people's mindset changes. You know what I mean? And some people were raised certain ways. You can't really control shit like that. But I think as time went on too, like with social media and the lack of human interaction, because you can easily get to somebody without seeing them in person anymore.
That's true.
People's social skills just kind of like started to
diminish.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
And sadly, I think it's gonna get worse and worse. Like, you know what I mean? But,
Well, I see a lot of that, like, just being like aware of my environment when I talk to people, and I notice that a lot with like the younger kids. They are so awkward. Like you talk to them, and they look at you in the face, and they really don't know how to communicate back, and it's just like you see this detachment.
And they're trying to,
know what I'm
like,
saying?
they're trying to answer you with like TikTok memes and stuff like that. Like my little nephew was like every time he's trying to be funny, he's doing TikTok memes instead of like actually having fun with something. You know what I mean? Actually going outside and enjoying something or being creative about something. He's just like repeating things. That's what I'm noticing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just like on a loop.
Gotcha.
Like the TikToks are giving him, like the online shit are giving him characters. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not even them anymore.
Hey,
It's
that
so
makes
weird.
a lot of sense. And
It's so weird.
that's a big reason, like, with kids, like, it's up to us, man.
Yeah, it really is.
I tell a lot of people, like, the older generation, like, above me, them motherfuckers about to be gone, bro. And it's gonna be my generation. We gonna be the oldest generation here. And it's like, that shit goes on and on. So, like, what am I gonna leave for, like, my son? And you niggas are in a different generation than I'm in. You know what I'm saying? So, I feel like I'm, in a sense, like, carrying the torch for the next generation.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm choosing to. Because I know how important it is
Important.
to invest. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, older people, they can just look at what the younger generation is doing and they can be like, what the fuck y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? Not paying you any attention.
they don't
It's
really
like,
guide though. They just judge a lot. Which
it's
is
a lot of
that
judgment.
where there was in this example I'm gonna use is like in music. Like in music, to feed that example is like, they always have that battle between, the new generation and the older generation. There's like that weird line and gray area where it's like there's no guidance. So it's like, you guys just kind of throw us under the bus. And I kind of resonate more with, the old generation, but like, you know what I mean? But I get both sides of, the playing field where it's like, you guys give us so much shit, but like at the same token, you kind of paved the way, but also y'all not really guiding us like to do better. It's just kind of like, y'all not doing right. Why? Show us how to do right at least, or show us if what we're doing wrong, like, look, I've been down that road. This is why it's wrong. Try this approach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, be an OG about it. Like, don't necessarily, throw the dirt on it, but I get it. But sometimes even when the OGs are like, there are adults and, mentors and people that do try to give you guidance, a lot of these young cats are too egotistical sometimes and don't want to hear shit. You know what I mean? They think their shit don't stink. A lot of OGs don't go for that. You know what I mean? And rather, like, I'm not even talking about on a musical standpoint, just OG, just, women, men, whoever. You feel me? Somebody who could give you direction or give you advice. Like, sometimes people don't want to hear that. And sometimes, after a certain amount of time, you can't lead a horse. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a drink. You know what I mean? So, after a certain amount of time, it's like, I could tell you so much, but if you're going to listen, that's up to you. You know what I mean? Don't get mad. Don't get mad when shit does go left and then look back like you did it. And then it's like, nah, I told you so, but you don't want to listen. So, I told you don't touch the stove when it's hot, but the only way you're going to learn is if you fucking eat that hand up. So, go ahead and have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, it's a double-edged sword, but
It is, because I can relate to you. I never asked to be, but I've become a guide, and I accept that,
And
I embrace it, and I fucking, actually love it, you know what I'm saying? Especially if I feel like I'm doing the right thing myself, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm worthy to be a fucking guide if I'm doing the right shit, you know what I'm saying?
Because you're giving advice, it's like you practice what you preach, you know?
Yeah. But as a guy, I had to learn, like, you mentioned judgment, like, you can't just judge this group here and then not try to understand where they're coming from.
Exactly.
Or why they're in the state that they're in right now, you know what I'm saying? That's why
that's another conversation too.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of
conversation.
That's why I think a lot of younger guys end up like attracting to me, because I was probably every one of you niggas at some point. I probably done everything you niggas have done and 1,000 things more. You know what I'm saying?
Something resonates.
That's
true.
But I feel that my experience, and like you said, I can't make niggas do shit, but I can let you know what has worked for me, how the experience has been for me, what's fucking hurt me. Like,
that's all you can do.
I can be open about that, you know what I'm saying? Because, being that guy, sometimes when you see shit other motherfuckers don't see, sometimes you want niggas to see it so motherfucking bad. But they can't see it until they see it.
Yeah.
They can't see it until they see it. So you just gotta continue to, like, me personally, I just kinda put niggas at a distance, and then every once in a while I throw a little jewel at a nigga. Just to see where his mind is at. I be testing to see where niggas' minds is at, man.
What's in the water?
You know what I'm saying? But, everybody finds their own approach to guiding, but I'm still figuring out mine. But I've learned that I have to be intimate with the younger generation if I'm going to have an influence, if I'm going to understand them, if I'm going to help propel things forward, maybe change some fucked up cycles that are going on. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. But
sometimes
as far as guidance goes, what does guidance mean to you guys? Do you guys have anybody in your lives that you feel like you're guiding?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Actually, definitely piggybacking on what you're saying is I always felt that the reasons why we get along so well is because we kind of guide our own section of people, and then we come together to kind of like guide each other with what the other one thinks. Like, hey, I've been thinking this. This is like, what's your thoughts on this? And then, we start talking about topics that usually are deeper conversations that you'll have with just your common everyday, like, even friend, I would say. Not a lot of friends are willing to go that deep and start talking about spiritual things and like self-growth, like we are, like, trying to talk about it right now. And I have always felt, and one thing I appreciate about you is that sometimes I can come off harsh to people. So even some of my friends, like, I can feel that they'll kind of like back off a little bit for a certain time, and it's probably because I said something that like triggered them enough where they're like, man, kind of like, fuck that guy. Funny part though, and I think I've mentioned it to you, is like they always end up coming back to me like, so you're kind of right, like, and then they start talking about it, and I've always been the type of friend that, like, if we're in a good standing point, you can always come back into my life, and it's like, I like saw you yesterday, like, I'm probably not even gonna talk about the one issue that you had, like, I'm gonna vibe it out, we fucking go out for drinks, like, enjoy a movie, whatever, man. Like, I literally will not address it until you're ready. And most of the time people address it, and then I've come to realize that, like, some people appreciate that guidance, it just takes them a little bit, and then some people like you just kind of embrace it, where you're like, just say whatever's on your fucking mind, bro. Like, I know you're not saying it in a wrong or evil manner, you're just trying to, like, give constructive criticism. So throughout, I want to say the last 3 to 4 years, there's a couple friends that I know for a fact come to me as like, hey, like, what's up with this? And it's nice to just give an opinion, and sometimes like you said, whatever advice, even if you're kind of on the right path for them, or like it's something that you've experienced, and you're like, hey, well, in this case, this happened to me, niggas gonna do whatever the fuck they want to do. They're gonna take either the road from listening to you, or they're gonna do the other road, or whatever, and then figure it out themselves, and then eventually come back to the people that gave them advice, and then they're like, hey, so what else you got in there? Because what you said actually happened. So maybe I should listen to you a little bit more often. And so it's interesting to see that dynamic with different friends groups and different people of all ages, and like it's interesting. But yeah, that's how I think I guide people through certain hardships, or even sometimes people just want to have someone to talk to, and I ended up having a space of my own where people come by and chill and smoke, and like we just vibe out, and people just open up naturally, like, you know, like it's not like I'm like, tell me about this. Like people just start being like, yeah, well, this has kind of been on my mind, and through stuff like that, I've also gotten a little bit better at telling people, do you want guidance, or do you want
You want me to listen?
you just want me to, like, you're just venting. Like, which one is it? Because sometimes when people are venting and you take it as they're trying to ask for advice, when you give them advice, it backfires where they might take it offensively, or
They already got that fire going.
yeah, exactly. So I, in moments, like crucial moments where I'm like, I don't know where this person's coming from, I always like to ask, like, are you venting or do you want advice? Because they're different things, you know what I mean? And I go approach the situations differently as well. Now that I've grown older and I've come to realize that sometimes that fine line is what could trigger someone to just be like, I don't even want to talk to you about it anymore. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So just whatever flows of conversation is kind of what I go with, and then like how they feel it out. And if they don't want to talk about it, move on to the next subject. You know, like I'm not going to linger and poke at it either to make you feel uncomfortable. Like you'll talk to whoever you want to talk to about it whenever you're ready. Let it be me, let it be you, let it be somebody else, your mom, your therapist, whatever. But that's how I go about guiding people. You know, just kind of giving them their opinion and see where they run with it. You know,
That's smooth, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you touched on a lot of things that I could definitely relate to. As far as guidance, I've been blessed enough, you know, where a lot of my friends in my life, throughout my life, have, for some reason, man, always felt comfortable. And I'm grateful that I give this space to where I make people, I'm vulnerable myself with people. I'm an open book. So I think that in itself makes people comfortable to talk to me, like just kind of open up to me naturally, like you said. And I don't really, I kind of could relate to a lot of people in a lot of different circumstances. So, because I've been around the block, I've been through some things in my life. So there's certain key points where I feel like in the conversation where I could, I can identify with you, or I can make you feel comfortable. Even if not, I can hear you out, you know. So I'm blessed with that. Like some people just, they come to me for guidance and just to, be a good listening ear. Because I guess I offer that. But I do struggle sometimes though, where I don't know, because I'm such a I guess you could say if I care about you a lot and I hear you're going through something, I just automatically feel the need to
put your 2 cents in.
Put my 2 cents in to offer how you could get out of the situations. I don't want to see you there in that position. And, that has backfired on me numerous times. In relationships, in friendships, and something I'm still working on that, you know what I mean? Because I got to learn to ask that question more like, yo, am I listening or am I giving advice? Like, what's up? You know what I mean? Because I'm great. I'm thankfully, I think I'm good at both. You know what I mean? So it gets tough sometimes, but, as far as giving guidance, man, I try to, help people see the best in them. You know what I mean? Because people, I don't know. I'm one of those people, I give out a lot. Sometimes we won't ever see, but that's cool, though, you feel me? But the people, it always comes back full circle, you know what I mean? I'm never, and I don't give out love or give out advice or anything like that for the return, you know what I mean? So it just kind of comes with it, but it's just, I don't know. As far as guidance go, I try to just give people honest opinions, honest, answers, or give them my answers. I don't go about that.
Hold on. This nigga have some real tough love. That's why he's not trying to answer for it. But nah, he has, he's from New York. It's
that ain't got nothing to do with it.
Yeah, enlighten us on how he's been guiding you.
He's been of course, he's been guiding me about my music journey and stuff, and trying to make sure that I, do the right. Make the right decisions when it comes to my music and life and everything. And it was music, and then it became more than just music. You know what I mean? Because we're really close.
That's fat,
and all that stuff. And then it just became very much trying to see the best out of each other.
Hold on, I'm gonna cut you off real quick. At what point did you guys feel more of a brotherhood than it just being this music
That's
thing?
Pretty nice.
Was there a specific situation, or did it
I
just evolve?
So
what specific situation?
I'm also curious if it's the same.
For 100%, yes, I do agree. Yes, that's my bro.
No. Like it's the same moment
No.
that you guys have. That's why I'm like, maybe it was a different moment for him than it was for you.
Well, I mean, I'll give a little synopsis of how like me and him even came about real quick, just to like kind of get to that point. Like, I mean, I always knew about his music as far as production side, because he worked with one of our homeboys named Adam. You know what I mean? Adam Moore. Shout out. But
You knew him before we met at the house?
yeah, 100%.
Nigga.
He's the reason I got. He's the reason.
Sex malfunctions.
It's all good.
It is.
It's all good. But yeah, he's the reason I even knew about the house actually.
Mm.
But I got invited to the house because of him. But
Gotcha.
so yeah, so I knew about his music. Always was a fan of his music. At that time, I wanted to produce music and I actually wanted to learn from him. To be honest, like I told him I wanted to learn from this kid and meet him. And then as time went on, life, you know what I mean, just kind of brought shit together, and that's when the event happened at the Airbnb where I met both of y'all. I had shrooms on me. You were the first person I walked into the house and met, and I was like, okay, this nigga got some big ass beads on his neck, like got some high socks on, Goku out. I was like, yeah. First thing I knew, I was like, my son's nice with his hands. Like that was one of the first questions I asked him. I was like, you fight, don't you?
I never said a word to this nigga about fighting, and I was like, this nigga's looking through me. I don't like this nigga.
I was like, you're a fighter, and then I went upstairs and I saw him, and realistically, I'm gonna keep it a buck. They were the only two black dudes in the crib, so that's why I gave him shrooms. So I was like, yo, I got.
You said my brothers. My brothers.
I gave him some shrooms, and like at one point, I just looked at both of them while they're in their zone and their own elements, killing it, and like. I don't know, that's why
I remember that shit, nigga. I was on the editing, nigga. I was had my shit set up on the kitchen counter, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was going in.
Going in, nigga.
But like,
in the zone.
So, yeah, man, so like, from there, I transferred, facts. So, from there, I built relationships with both of y'all, and he was in Naples doing his own thing, you know. He was going with his flow, he was finding himself in life. And, I was in the process of like moving out of my house at the time that I was living with a couple of my bros, and I had some open space, and you know, he hit me up one day and was like, "Yo, can I come through and kick it?" And I was just like, pull up." Like, you know, honestly, I ain't really know like that.
I had nowhere in that little gap. This is Phillips, by the way. But in that little gap, I was like in a warehouse and stuff, trying to like start up a studio and everything, and then, you know, got fucked over.
I remember that shit.
Yeah, and then I was like, can I kick it? And I called him and I was like, yo, can I kick it at your crib? Because he said he had an open crib and everything. We talked about it before everything ended. And I literally hit him up, and I was like, who could I call right now? And I hit him up, and I remembered it, and he said, yeah, you can come kick it. And, you know, continue.
And yeah, so he pulled up, and I knew where it was going because I knew the situation he was in. And like, I had the open space. My bro, who dipped out, had left his bed. So I'm like, yo, honestly, like, it's come through. I ain't got much bread or food. I was like, well, whatever's here, kill it. That's all you. Eat it. And I had a bed. I was like, yo, that's all you. I was like, it's a safe place. You can smoke whatever we have in the spot. Like,
I was gonna say that's some G shit.
And just, I was like, it's a safe place for you to make music and cook up and do what you gotta do. I was like, you know, it was time for strange for shit, but I was like, make yourself at home, you know, for the time being. And one, he ain't steal nothing from me.
That's important. That's important because opening up your house to kind of like a stranger.
And I really know him, you know what I mean?
Like, and even if you do know people, like I've lived with people that like you're like, whoa, you're about that, you know, like, and not saying that they steal, but just you start to find out things about people when you live with them that you're like, that's kind of weird and shady or weird, gross, whatever the case might be. So that's definitely something that sits in a man's head when you like let someone come into your house. You're like, got a bunch of shit laying around. He's in a bad situation, but like you were still like open house, no worries.
And you know what I mean? And because of that, you know, he ain't do me dirty, and for that I took recognition in that. You know what I mean?
That's real.
He didn't invite like a bunch. You know, he ain't throw no parties in my crib. Like he respected my, you know,
the boundaries are respected.
Exactly. So that right then and there, I was like, all right, cool. And then actually, I was in the process, like I said, moving to Texas. I was trying to move to Texas with like three of my bros, and the shit kind of fell through. You know what I mean? It wasn't really the easiest process, and I kind of got the short end of the stick. But in my eyes, it kind of worked out perfectly because that time frame, him and I was just chopping it up, getting to know each other, and he was getting to know my musical knowledge and just like my artistic, creative side of things, and we were just breaking ideas of shit and like I was just telling him, giving him ideas of like directions to take with his music. And he knew that I wanted to get into music management, like artist management, and like actually A&R work, to be honest. Which I wanted to get into A&R work because I have a really good ear for music. I just like putting some talents in the right room and making magic happen. And actually, as I was getting the bad news, like either we take this opportunity, which is a real fucked up opportunity, or that's that. He was just like, yo, shoot, like if you don't move to Texas, like. I love if you manage me. And after that, I kind of just didn't really give a fuck about Texas at that point because it was just like I have a purpose. You know what I mean? Like I had a purpose at that point to want to stay here and to handle it. But
which, not to cut you off, but I don't know how much, like some people will view that, but I view that as the universe guiding you.
100%.
To like, hey man, like I know you had that idea, but let's check this out really quick.
100%. And honestly, I mean, from there we built a brotherhood to the point, where, and we still working on it, I mean? We still patching things up, which is perfectly fine. It's just for everything, I mean? Just be locked in for life. But like, it's times where like, honestly, where for me it was after our first argument. After our first argument where I came...
Our first fight.
Do you guys often bump heads, or is it kind of sporadically?
No, it's just, we
It's sporadically, but yes,
but
we do
we
bump
respect
heads.
each other. We respect each other enough to know that we're passionate about what we're saying to each other. So it's just like
it gets heated for a quick second, but then it comes right back down. It's like, all right, hold on, let's hear each other out. You feel me? Because always at the end of the day, the bigger picture, like what's for the bigger picture, what's for the greater good.
Is it more like a clash of personalities or ideas?
Ideas.
Because I know who he is. He knows who I am, and it's not. He knows, like you said, he knows I give tough love. So like he knows when I'm like, and he'll get frustrated. You know what I mean? But it's like I don't curse. We don't disrespect each other. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's brothers, but at the end of the day, it's still respect. And it's still business, you know what I mean? We still, like, I'm big. He knows that I preach good business to him. Like, I want him to learn everything on the business aspect. Because I want him to know, I want him to be his own boss. At the end of the day, he is a boss, you know what I mean? But I care about him, so I want to watch his best interests and make sure people ain't fucking him over, you know what I mean? Because that world's it's a very sharky environment, you know what I mean? If it's something I love to do in general and I can do with somebody who I deeply care about and who's really talented and I can help and we can put our ideas together and make some shit pop, why the fuck not? That's a win-win-win-win-win. And break bread together, and we learn business and learn different ventures and all that shit together. Come on, like, you know what I mean? And so, but the chemistry happened naturally, to be honest with you. Nothing was really ever forced. It just kind of went through, and honestly, just me and him having just, very vulnerable, open talks about family, you know what I mean? Life and shit like that, and just getting to know each other, realizing we do have similarities, you know what I mean? And just hearing each other out and understanding each other, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. At times, but like, I think that the moment, like to answer your question, the moment that I felt like, it was a brother, it was one after I trusted him, honestly, after he was kicking it with me and then he didn't, he proved his loyalty to me, you know what I mean? He proved respect, you know what I mean? And he also took a shot on me, you know what I mean? That's when I was like, alright. This kid is either he sees something in me that I do see in myself, or he sees something beyond me. Like,
definitely. No, I definitely saw something in Tsunami, especially when I met Shinobi too. Like when I met you at that house, like you were the only two I was really hanging out with mostly and stuff. And then I didn't even know Tsunami that well at all. When I asked you this, I was really down, And then when I asked, and I realized who Tsunami was from that house, because Tsunami, I call him Sue the Glue, because he knows how to bring people together. Yeah, he really knows how to bring people together, and I really like that because to be open, it's just like something I always cared for because of I didn't really have it that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like something I really want to make sure, I know I love my alone time. You know what I mean? But I don't want to get too deep into being alone to like. I have to train myself to be like, okay, this is a community. We're in a community.
That's real talk. I can relate like a motherfucker because a lot of times, bro, I've broken it down to like a balance of heaven and earth, nigga.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be so high in the heavens that I'm detached from here and I'm not rooted and grounded.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I can't be so far down here in this primal stage that I'm not allowing myself to fucking ascend and lift up. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
real.
I guess that's where I don't really
Balance.
I don't really believe in balance.
I don't believe in balance
honestly.
either.
But I'll call it that. You know what I'm saying?
I always try to say balance because at the same time it's just like I want to enjoy life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just like when I met him, it was just like I wanted him to understand that this is for real for me. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Like I wanted him to know this is for real. Throughout the whole time, I was, I didn't let that whole thing have, bring me down. I was just producing, and of course, smoking hella weed. Yeah, but we were just chilling in the house, and it was just like I had to prove to him that this is for real because I just asked him to be my manager. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if we're gonna make this happen, I need to make him. He has to believe me. He has to believe me, and I have to believe myself every day. So I was writing. So the main thing that helped me around that time was like writing all the time. I was just putting my thoughts down and then realizing and going back and be like, oh, this is how you felt, because it feels different when you go back and read it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it feels so different. And then just it was just natural, like when we met and all that stuff, and yeah. And he's been like guiding my music since then. But we're going back on the guidance thingy, on the guidance topic.
Yeah, we're still on.
Yeah, we're still on it. But yeah, the thing is,
we talking about YouTube, but it's all meshed
it's all
together.
meshed up now. But no, okay, going back to that topic though, the guidance part. I don't try to go out of my way. I feel like to try to guide somebody at all. But with my little nephew, yeah. You know what I mean? I could do that. I could try to be like, hey, turn off your phone while you're eating.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
And certain people you feel more of a responsibility
More
for.
responsible.
Yeah.
But when I with friends and stuff like that, I try to embody what I try to embody who I want to be as much as possible. Mm-hmm. I feel like somebody would learn something from that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just want to be me as possible. Yeah. Really good.
Alright, we're going to keep the mic on you.
We're keeping the mic on.
We're going to turn the tables a little bit.
Okay.
Alright, we recently had a very nice fucking night. Xero, he recently DJ'd. What was that place called?
Franklin Social.
Franklin
Shout out
Social.
Franklin Social.
Shout out Franklin Social.
We had tonight as well.
Is that going to be a normal thing?
Yeah, it's going to be possible.
At least for the next 3 Saturdays.
Okay.
I'm going to try and make that. I mean, I'll tell him, but I'm going to try and see if we can get a residency. Just so keep it steady for it.
Keep it steady.
Alright, y'all. Look out for Xero at the Franklin Social.
Yes,
next 3 Saturdays at least, nigga.
Yes,
So,
sir.
get your asses out there.
If you're not dancing, don't come.
Dude.
Bring comfortable clothes. That's all I want.
The way our energy was in there the other night, like,
It was just amazing.
they have to let you keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like,
I
we were bringing
it,
people in.
It
Like,
was
I
just-
was sitting back looking, bro, and I was like amazed. I'm like, bro, these niggas are like magnetizing us, man. And it was
just pretty cool.
it was just-
so good.
dude, it was dope to just experience and be a part of that shit.
Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah.
No problem,
Thank
bro.
you for coming for real.
But I wanted to ask you, how were you feeling before you went on stage? And how were you feeling when did you know you were in your fucking pocket? Like, when you hit that
That's
pocket.
a good
So how are you feeling?
question.
How were you feeling before you went up there?
Okay.
Okay, answer that one first.
Okay, I was nervous as hell because I guess most people don't know that I kind of just started DJing like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been knew how to DJ, but I just never actually thought that I would be one because I thought I was a producer. You know what I mean? Just a producer. I just wanted to focus on that. I just didn't want to mix anything up and stuff like that. But then people started talking to me. You know what I mean? Asking me if I'm a DJ. I hated that question. I dead ass hated that question. Yeah. Me DJing right now is crazy as hell because I could not put my mind to DJing at all for some reason. You know what I mean? So it's just like
explain that a little bit more.
it's just weird. It's just like, it feels like a blockage. It felt like your mind is stuck onto something.
Something you haven't opened yet.
Something you haven't opened yet. It felt like that.
Mm-hmm.
It literally felt like that. I was just letting my mind go and be like, okay, let me try it. Let me DJ real quick, and then ended up because in my mind it was just like, oh, repetitive music, blah blah, and all that stuff. I don't want to keep doing the same music, but there's so much music. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like, if I want to not do that, then I could DJ and then just find a lot of music and do my research and have more music. You know what I mean? Because when we go to like other clubs that usually is in Naples, they play the same thing over and over. And you know what I mean? It's not really fun. So I was like, all right. So I picked it up. Yeah, it's a creativity. So I picked it up and I actually started practicing it. And I was like, okay, I liked it and other stuff. And then that's why my mind started to change about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just actually being hands-on. But, you know, before I went on stage, I was nervous as hell.
What'd you tell yourself, like, before you, because you know right before that moment,
Yeah.
like, what were you saying to
I was
yourself?
nervous as hell. I was like, man, literally what I said to myself was, you know music. This is your shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you do. You know what I mean? So I just started to drink more tequila. And I was in it. But,
okay.
no, but yeah, you were asking for when I was on Pocket?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, but it
Do
was
you
a
remember
song.
the song?
It was T-Pain.
Was it on Sprung?
Yeah, no, it was not Armstrong. No, it was
It was someone
Akon. It was
more deep
Akon.
than
It was Akon. It was Akon. Convict music, and you know,
Alright.
I see you whine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo, I grew up with that song.
Mhm.
That's like one of my favorite songs. You know what I mean? Like, one of my favorite songs. I see you whining, God, up on that phone. I see you looking at. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's just the energy of it.
Yeah.
And once you feel it, and you go in
Takes
it,
you to the
it
place.
just takes you to the
'Cause
place.
you can feel it and see it, like, you
'Cause
know.
that tempo matches with a lot more. You know what I mean? You can bring it up.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You just feel it. You just feel all the tempos after that.
Yes.
And you just start going with the flow. Yeah. Because I don't ever have it planned at all.
So how was the experience for you as a whole, in a nutshell? What did it do for you? Did you feel like you grew from that?
Yeah, I did. It taught me a lot to feed off of people. Yeah. To feed off of people.
Off the
Like,
crowd.
you literally are the master of the energy in there, bro. Like,
Yeah, that's what it is.
bro, that's your
Yeah.
fucking space,
I
nigga.
fed off of this dude, and then he was over here feeling the song, and then fed off of you, fed off of
We were feeding each other,
Yeah,
bro.
we're feeding each other.
That's
That's
all
like
it was,
that's
bro.
what it was like ping ponging. That's literally the first time I've ever felt it like that. It was insane. It was like people were feeding off each other. Like if somebody was a little bit like this and then they see somebody else, oh, let's get it. I was literally looking at that and it was one of my favorite things ever.
You got Daisy out there looking all elegant and dancing.
I know.
It was just a little bit of everything.
A little bit of
bro.
everything.
She was wild.
A little bit of everything. I love that. That's that's what I want. You know what I mean?
All right.
I need it.
I want to turn this over to my man, Jorge.
Jorge.
Now, my man over here, he's a dog trainer. This nigga has taught me a lot about dogs in general and mentality and, this is dog whisperer, fucking 3.0.
Seaside.
But I would like to ask you, how should I say this?
Ooh.
Your experience training dogs, how does that relate to how you communicate with people? Have they taught you anything as far as communication?
Bro, for sure. So more than anything, patience. I feel like one of the main things that dog training has taught me is patience. One of the things my mentor says all the time is slow is fast in the dog world. And that really started to teach me patience with working different types of dogs that have higher energy or lower energy. You start to realize that some of the higher energy dogs are a little easier, like German Shepherds, because you can keep them focused a little bit better, depending on what they like, toy, praise, treats, whatever it is, you usually can find a niche and work off of that for training.
What would a low energy dog be?
It could be a German Shepherd, man.
Like
It
a bloodhound?
It depends. It depends on genetics, but Great Danes are known to be like basically couch potatoes, just because of the way they go about life. They're super chill dogs, even though they're gigantic. So it just really depends on the breed. You can get certain dogs that are super chill. Like a lot of people lose sight of that they have a notion that a breed is this certain way. It's not always like that. You can get that oddball that just chills all the time, and it's a Belgian Malinois, maybe. High energy dog that usually is all over the place. You could have ended up with a chill one. The probabilities are there, but I think the difference would be trying to find also the dog that is praise driven versus food driven is also different, because food is easy. You pull out something that's tasty, chicken, hot dog, the dog's going to listen to you, and you can eventually guide him a little bit easier. But when the dog has no interest in food or in toys, you have to immediately set the tone that you want to treat. And at the end of the day, dogs want to please you in all ways, shapes, and forms. So that your praise is one of the things that they crave the most. I mean, you probably walked into a house, and what's the first thing a dog does usually? Come up to you like, hey, right? Crazy. Just because they want you to touch them, they want you to play with them, and that's the energy we've fed most pet dogs. You know, my dogs, I don't like that. I don't like them invading my space, and most of the time they'll probably go up to kind of sniff you, and then be like, all right, cool, you're in the house. Just because I've implemented that, because I don't like dogs coming up to me and sniffing and doing that and being all over people, like myself or a guest. So everyone does things differently. What have I learned from dogs is patience. Patience for sure. Because one dog that gets something super quickly, another dog won't get super quickly. Like, you're going at it a lot longer. Something that might take one of these higher drive or smarter dogs, I guess, 3 times might take a golden retriever or maybe a beagle 6 to 8 times, maybe, you know, of repeating the same process of sit down or whatever it might be.
Okay. What are some of some of the smarter dog breeds?
So as far as I know, I believe Border Collie is the smartest dog breed. Then I believe it's Poodle, German Shepherd, and then I just learned the top 3 because I just was curious about the top 3. But then it goes in order, and typically the dogs that are considered smarter breeds are more of a heavy working line dog.
Gotcha.
So Border Collies, they herd. They're herders. They're sheepdogs and stuff like that. So
crazy.
German Shepherd, same thing. I'm not entirely sure what poodles were used
Poodles
for.
are hunters, bro.
But I mean, think about it this way: all dogs had a purpose at one point in their life, and then however many years ago, we decided to make them pets. You know, and then that became a accessory more than a add-on to your tribe, because that's how we became friends with wolves. You know, our tribes mimicked very similar hierarchy systems to wolves, and so they were integrated pretty well into our lifestyle. And through food and praise and blah 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 blah, you know, we domesticated the wolf, whatever, right? But that stemmed a help for us. Either a help for hunting, guarding, whatever the dog did for us was a job. It had a job. And then even think about probably 50 years ago, or maybe even less than 25, people had dogs on farms. They weren't so much about having toy poodles and stuff like that. These designer dogs, I feel like they just popped up in the last 20 years. I feel like the
last 10 for
they're
sure.
Genetic experiments now.
For sure, and it gets a little crazy or whatever. I don't talk any dogs. Dogs are all cool and awesome, whatever. But some of these opinions, I'm like,
Pig poodle.
I'm like, I don't know, man. Did we need that dog? What's the point of that dog? You know, if we break down the process of why we had dogs to begin with, I'm like, is that a necessary thing? But whatever. Most dogs had a job. They were farm dogs. Your grandpa got in his truck, took the dog to go get cattle or whatever the case was, and then fed it. And then the next day, same process. You woke up, went to fucking work, and came back. You fed it, went to sleep. Dog was all about working. And now, what do most people do? Have their dogs indoors and takes them on a walk down the stop sign and maybe down the road, and then they're like, okay, you got enough stimulation. And then they wonder why their dog is all weird when they see new people or new objects. They're like, what's wrong? I'm like, I don't know. You kept it in your house his 2 years of his life, so trash cans are something new to him. He's just never seen them before. And you have to desensitize dogs to all these things. You have to. The reason why they're scared is because they don't know what it is. Think about it this way, bro. If you didn't know what something was, you'd be like, what the fuck is that?
You just play one around.
I don't know if I'm going close to that. I don't know what that is. It's big. Looks like it could hurt me. I'm not going over there.
Yeah.
So, just interesting to see those concepts being put into dogs.
I never really thought about it that way.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
The desensitizing part was kind of goes to Courage the Cowardly Dog, bro.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's what it was. He never got outside. His owners never took him outside. So
And he had a bunch of anxiety. I mean,
that's why the world, everything looked like monsters to him because it was just like,
Oh, the mic closest to?
My fault.
yeah, that's why like in Courage the Cowardly Dog, like he was so scared of everything when he went outside. It looked like the desert because he was never outside.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
Ooh, you know what's another thing that dogs can help me with is keeping my cool. Because I used to be a really big hothead too, and then in training, the biggest thing is keeping your mind in a cool, calm, collective state. Like you can't get too riled up, you can't get upset, because once you start getting upset and stuff, your whole body chemistry changes, your whole body language changes, and dogs, all they pick up is on that stuff. So once you start to become anxious, your dog becomes anxious. Once you start to become mad, your dog starts to become timid because it doesn't want to make you more upset. You know, it's like, it doesn't want to fuck up, so it's like, what do I do? There's like different scenarios that happen from how people and dogs interact. And so the most important thing in dog training, in my opinion, is keeping it calm. Like knowing that you can't get frustrated, even though the dog already learned it, and you're like, what's going on? You just have to troubleshoot what's maybe he's just having like a weird moment. You put him away, reset him, take him back outside, and have a better session. You know, maybe that first session was 5 minutes because he was being weird, something was going on. Maybe he had a poop. It really like it's weird things that can take away focus from training. So then you don't have a clean session. And then you might reset them and come back out and have a perfect session.
that's great.
So, dude, it's happened. You know, like I've taken a dog out and maybe I slacked on not holding my boundary enough at the gate. And that set it into a different mindset. So we go out and we're having a difficult session. Instead of continuing a difficult session, I'll tell myself, okay, if the dog does something 3 times in a row, I'm going to put it away. And then could be 15 minutes, could be half an hour, could be 2 hours. But I'll come back outside and try it again, and then we'll have a perfect session. And then boom, you know, you forget about the bad session that you had whatever time ago, and now you know that boom, the dog knows the command, he's flown with you, it's getting better. Something might have just tripped the dog up enough that, like I had an instant where the dog, I used prongs and the dog accidentally corrected himself. I didn't do anything, the dog did. Didn't realize, I like looked down for a second, he kind of got caught up with a tree and tried to move forward, and the pressure of the tree on the leash corrected the dog, and he was like, and he was weird the rest of the session because he corrected himself hard enough. I didn't do anything, I was just not paying enough attention. He wrapped himself around the tree enough where it caught him, and he was like, and he had a weird session, put him away, came back out later with no hard correction, you know, just flowed with him, came back downstairs, perfect session. And that hard correction in the beginning that he did not understand why he was getting corrected, because he didn't do anything wrong. He just got caught behind a tree that pulled the leash enough, had enough tension on it, that it corrected him. So he was so confused on what did I do wrong, because he technically didn't do anything wrong. He kind of just went around the corner and put enough pressure on the leash that he was like, what's going on? So it's interesting that hard correction that he gave himself on accident, trying to loop around, set him in a weird mindset where I didn't have such a fluid session. So going back in, resetting him, being like, okay, cool, like hang out for a little bit. And then we went back outside like 30 minutes later. He was fine because we just came out from inside the house to outside and worked. And there was no hard correction that he didn't comprehend. He was confused in that moment. So I was like, okay, done. Worked again, perfect. So it's funny to see that you can have perfect sessions and bad sessions, but they always kind of balance out. And it's helped to realize, hey man, just calm down. Go back inside, drink some water, watch an episode maybe, you know, clean the house, whatever to get the mind off that task of dog training for a second. And then reinforce, like, it helps not only for me, but for the dog too, you know what I mean? Like, going and resetting real quick.
Yeah.
I'll come back out with a different attitude. And then maybe it's happy or energetic enough attitude than before, where the dog reacts even better. You know, it just really depends on every dog, every situation. for two things for sure are patience and keeping a cool, calm, collective state throughout bad scenarios, because that has to happen as well if the dog freaks out.
Mm-hmm.
If it's an aggressive dog that like lunges at other dogs or other people, you have to also be aware that at any time the dog might get weird, and you can't get weird. You have to stay calm. You have to like work through the actual problem instead of getting weird and aggressive back with the dog. So
Patience and cool.
Yep.
And I'm sure they bring you much love as well.
Oh, absolutely, man. A ton of love. That's all they want to do is give you love.
Alright, I want to turn the tables. I want to talk about some music, man.
Let's do it.
Dude, I've been fucking like, y'all know I just be sending y'all random shit.
Yeah, no.
So I'm like,
All the fucking time.
Bro. I appreciate it though,
I do
because
too, but I feel bad when I don't get back to you about
nah, bro, I'm like, this nigga listen to it when he listens to it. It's out there, you know what I'm saying? It's out there.
Yeah.
But dude, I love music. I'm a lover of music. I'm a lover of like what sounds good. I don't give a fuck about genre. Like I like what I can feel in my motherfucking core.
in the soul.
Let's get to this conversation. What about
Lately, I've been listening to. There's times in my life, bro, where I just like.
Please, you about to say something? I hope you say it.
I just gotta listen to some hard shit.
Oh.
Like
That's very
just
true.
gonna bust you in the mouth type shit.
Go, if you put one, go, if you put.
I've listened to a lot of. You guys familiar with Griselda?
Hell yeah, my dog Conway the Machine is a beast.
No idea.
But I've been listening to a lot of Rome Streets. He's one of their artists. He's
Okay.
he's kind of a hidden gem. You know
Fuck
what
with
I'm
38 Special.
saying? A little bit. I still haven't delved
Me
into
too.
a lot of his catalog, but I fuck with him though. And it's funny because you learn about all these other artists through other artists. You know what I'm saying? Like I can remember when I was on Currency pretty hard. I discovered Larry June. You guys remember Larry June? I discovered Larry June through Currency, and then from there I dove into Larry's catalog, and then started finding people from there. So I just love music and how you can go on this. It's like this
Never ending story, bro.
never ending, unlimited, nigga, and
So
it
where?
just ties you into new artists that you didn't know exist and shit like that. But I would say top 3 for me now. I've been on some hard gangster shit. I've been on Afro beats a lot.
Heavy.
Hard, nigga. That shit has been like.
Jumpy, bro.
I feel like that shit's been like healing my soul, bro.
Bro, it's high vibration music. We were just kind of
Those
talking
drums
about
and
that
shit?
last night, bro. It's high vibration,
A
bro.
lot of Afro
Low
beats, bro.
808s and just a lot of drums.
Oh, I'm in love with that shit,
And
nigga.
me too.
I'm in love with that shit. A lot of
It brings me love for some reason.
Burna Boy's his
Burna
newest
Boy.
album.
Yeah,
was good.
Wizkid's new album is fire too.
I've heard some of his stuff. I haven't listened to any of his albums.
Whoa.
I just started listening to a little bit of Blast.
That's my yo. I'll thank you for saying that. That you know what I'm saying. That's actually one of my favorite
It's
artists.
something about his voice.
His voice is so
Something about his fucking
he has such a
voice,
distinctive voice, and like the way I'm so happy you said that, bro, because that's actually one of my favorite artists right now. His sound is just so like
Bro, it's
peaceful to me. Like I call it. Blast. If you ever see this, bro, please don't take it offensive. But again, when I say this, bro, I mean it's in a wholesome way. It's barbecue music to me. Like, and what I mean by that is when I play it,
I know what you
like
mean.
when I play that, I expect to be in a function with mad people and love, bro, just dancing, like with a motherfucking barbecue chicken in my fucking hand, like with a plate of potato salad, like going in, bro, just like wholesome
Wholesome vibe.
family like functions, like outside date, like cookouts, like. He got that like dance along music. Like I don't know, like you with a shorty, like you know what I mean.
it's it's almost like you just coasting.
Yeah, man. Like he is real chill. Like his voice is just calm. Like and it feels good, bro. Like it actually feels good. Like he's talking positive. He's talking about women in positive light. Like he's a vulnerable man in music, which is not
That's the
common,
big thing.
bro.
I've learned that as I've become a man, and I'm sure you guys can relate. Your music taste change.
Facts, bro.
And now I find myself listening
Because
to
what you listen to is what you are as
No
well,
doubt.
man.
No doubt. Nigga, I used to be all about the party and all that shit. Now I'm listening to niggas that got kids. I'm listening to niggas talk about stocks and shit like that. Like motherfuckers that's like feeding you gems, nigga. Like music, motherfuckers feed you so much shit through music, and all you gotta do is fucking pay attention, decipher, and you know what I'm saying, and move forward with the information. You know what I'm saying?
Move forward with the information.
Blast definitely got that sound, man. I don't know. His voice is just like I don't know. He made me want to grab a girl and just like, you know what I mean? Like, just cuddle up and dance for him. Like,
You heard him before?
You heard him?
No, I have no idea who that is.
Go ahead.
No clue.
Yeah, go ahead. That's the go
But yeah,
on your top three.
I would say fucking gutter shit for me. Afro beats for sure. And then my fucking Zen shit, nigga.
Okay. So when you say Zen shit, what we talking
I love lo-fi, but I like Asian lo-fi.
Yeah,
I also
Asian lo-fi.
I like lo-fi hip hop as well. Yeah, Asian lo-fi, like that shit puts me like.
That shit's fire.
That shit just
very,
puts me at peace.
very peaceful. I feel that.
Yeah.
So go ahead, George, and I'm with this. I'm
But
coming.
that's my top three. But yeah.
For my top three?
Yeah, go ahead.
My top three? Oof. Bro, I don't know, man. I'm pretty diverse. Drake's definitely in there, but I've been a Drake fanboy for a minute.
Alright, so I'm gonna play devil's advocate here with you, sir. Alright, his
Say it.
21 Savage and his what was it? Her Loss
Her loss.
compared to the house joint he did with two completely different albums, but
Damn.
two completely different albums. But which one did you enjoy more, at least?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I think, okay, so like, that's a really interesting question.
Because I'm not gonna pit them against each other, but like, which one did you enjoy more?
Because so like, the issue with what was the previous one?
I don't really remember.
I can't remember the name either.
I just thought it was.
So it's the album that has Sticky on it and shit,
Yeah.
right? And okay, so a lot of people hated on it, but I liked it because the way I saw it, it dropped in summer, right? So the way I saw it is,
Never mind.
he honestly never mind. That's exactly what it's called. The way I saw it is he dropped that album so it could be played everywhere in like any kind of scenario. Because they were all kind of like house beats
Yeah.
where you really could just plug that in. And you probably know as a DJ that you can just play around with a lot of that shit.
I even played that night.
And I've seen a bunch of different remixes done a different way from that specific album,
Yeah.
which I was like, this is exactly what his intention was. His intention was to put it out as like a social media kind of banger. And everyone's like, oh, we want that hard, like that hard rap, blah, 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 blah. And then that's kind of what he dropped with Her Loss, in my opinion. You know, like he was like, you want that rap shit? Here's that rap shit. And he dropped Her Loss with 21, which, I mean, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I felt
Probably not as much as Honestly Never Mind, but I do enjoy that album for sure.
So my next question to you, as far as why you want Drake still, what's your top 3 albums if you had to pick your top 3 Drake albums?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Number
Your top
one.
3 Drake album.
Nothing Was the Same.
Oof, alright, I'm fucking with it.
Wait, in order?
Yeah, number 1.
Okay.
Nothing Was the Same. Second would be probably Take Care.
Okay, we want to see, baby.
And 3 is a toss up between Views and If You're Reading This.
Actually, now we're on the same page, except if you're reading this is too late, I'm gonna take out and put thank you later.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
God.
That was a good one for sure.
Alright.
But those are yeah.
And if you read what's the one with the blue clouds again. Fuck. Nothing was the same. Nothing was the same. And Take Care for me always battled between first and second place.
Yeah, I can kind of concur with that.
Alright, let me do my
through
top
the
3
years.
Drake before you guys continue. My top 3 Drake is Nothing Was the Same. If You're Reading This Is Too Late. And then the one with like headlines in it.
More life.
More life. No.
Headlines is what? Views?
No.
Headlines is Take Care. Headlines is Take Care. I'm tripping.
Take care. That album,
that's that shit.
that was that light skin.
Bro, hell yeah, that's when Drake really
light skin
transcended
shit.
though, was Take Care. That album
All
was
the light skins were
that album had every single on that album was a hit, almost.
Yeah, all the light skins
He won a Grammy for that's his only Grammy he's won thus far, actually.
Take Care?
Yeah, as far as album wise, yeah.
Yeah.
But alright, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Drake's definitely like my probably number 1 artist, and then I would say number 2 is Suicide Boys.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
What's that vibe again? That's like
They're like kind of like grungy, man. They're like
more on the rock side or like hip hop dark side?
It's, bro, you have to do yourself to this.
Like 3 6 Mafia shit. Like
yeah, kind of like they actually sample off 3 6 a lot, bro. They sample a lot about bro. Like a lot of their
I
stuff
don't
is
listen to
sampled
that
off
stuff that
of.
much, but
So-
you can't describe their sound
It-
like that at all.
I mean, I'm sure they have their own. I think it's grunge rap. I think
Okay,
it's what it
okay.
falls under. I believe. I'm not entirely sure, but
shit's genreless now, so who gives a fuck?
I just love their production, man. I just love the way they switch up a lot of things. The way they just go for hard beats. Honestly, for the most part, anytime I listen to
Say workout
Suicide Boys, it's my workout music. And then like I get pumped to go to work music. You know what I mean? Like when I'm gonna go to work, I need that energy, boy, like pump me up. Yeah, for sure. And then third spot is probably between Young Dolph and Coda the Friend, which is it's kind of such a
shout out big bro, Coda the Friend, man.
Yo, I just want to say, I discovered Coda this year.
Yeah.
And fuck, what's the album called, man? You don't have to skip any tracks.
For Colored Boys?
For Color Boys, no, it's Color. No, for Color Boys is on Photo.
I can think
Yeah, hold on.
I can pull this bitch up.
Lyrics to Go, Volume 1, 2, and 3.
He put me up to For Colored.
He got a new single too.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Good too. What was the album called? Tequila Sunrise.
Tequila Sunrise.
Tequila Sunrise. That was the shit. I haven't dove into anything else as far as
listen to Lyrics to Go. Listen to all the Lyrics to Go.
I don't even know how I discovered them, but I came across them.
I got some crazy. That's
For Colored Boys.
I'm like a fucking.
that one is a little deep for me though.
For Colored Boys?
For Colored Boys.
Nah, Coda the Friend is a whole.
No, I'm saying like
you know who put me on to Coda? Sergio.
Word.
Shout out DDM. But yeah, he put me on a while ago when we worked at the warehouse together a couple of years back. He was like, have you ever heard of him? No idea. Boom. He hopped on. And the reason why I like Coda is going back to what you were talking about earlier is the lyricism.
The lyrics.
The grown-up lyricism that he's not talking about bullshit and partying, women and shit. He's talking about buying houses and being good with his family and being there for his kids. And
having land for his son.
Vulnerable for sure. And as I grow older, I definitely start to dive more into the lyricism of things and the meaning behind the music. But I also go through the same phases of like gutter stuff where like I just want to hear that shit that makes my fucking face rattle, bro. Like saying a bunch of nonsense, but I just fucking want to feel that boom, 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 you know? So it's a good mixture. And then I have my days where I'm into like lo-fi and all day. All I listen to is lo-fi all day long, all day. And it doesn't matter if it's Disney lo-fi, Japanese lo-fi. Like I'll just type in lo-fi into YouTube and find a random channel and listen to it.
Lo-fi?
But yeah.
I know that.
There's like different things in the lo-fi world now, but I love it, man. And I've been on that train for a while, even before Lo-Fi Girl was like super huge, you know. So
yeah, cause I remember cause I go to this nigga house and we always chop it up, but he always has some lo-fi beats on. Every time I walk in, lo-fi beats is on, nigga. So
it's also
always
like
setting the vibes.
inviting, you know what I mean? It's so like it's not too harsh. It's just something you can put down like the background. You're talking, you're vibing, and all of a sudden you hear these little. It's a vibe, bro. It's a vibe.
I remember I put that shit on my mom when my brother came, and I know they don't fuck with any of that. And I just started playing it in the background, like on a slide tip. Then after a while, they was just
bopping.
It was like, this is good music. Everybody was fucking calm and shit. Like that shit do something.
That shit does, that's for sure.
Alright, let's see.
It's healing.
So it's kind of crazy, man. It's actually really fucking dope. And it's so cool to see that you guys are fans of Coda the Friend.
Oh yeah.
Because like, I'm a fan as well, like super duper fan. But it's also crazy because that's like I grew up with that kid. Like that's one of my brother's close friends. Like,
oh yeah?
No way.
Yeah, that's like she's one of my brother's best friends. So it's like really fucking dope and trippy to see his transition from like me looking at him in my crib playing a trumpet.
A trumpet?
Like, and seeing him where he's at now, and I'm like so proud of him, you feel me? Like, I don't talk to him like that at all. Like, him and my brother have their relationship, like, that's still big, bro, you feel me? Like,
yeah.
I have my memories with him, I look up to him, I love his fucking music through and through.
Music is fire.
Super vulnerable and real, you know what I mean?
He plays instruments too?
Yeah, he's super talented. He produces the majority of his music as well. So he does the majority of all his shit, if I'm not mistaken. He does his own videos too. He's super fucking talented, man. He's always been that way. His company, his LLC, Flight Boys, he started that shit when he was in high school, bro. Like, I had one of his first edition, like, sweaters that he ever made. I don't have it anymore, it don't fit me, but it was white and black, like, crew neck with Flight Boys on it. And it had, like, these black birds, like, just flying all over, like, a bunch of them. She was fly. But, yo, it's actually crazy. Like,
man, how does it make you feel saying that? Like,
proud, you know what I mean? Like, just as a, like, you know, from a little bro standpoint, but as a fan, it's just, like, cool. It's like, yo, like, hearing his name come out of people I know's mouth, and I'm just like, man, you know him? Like,
yeah.
And, you know, it's like, not even a slight, because his music is fucking amazing. And I hate that he's, you know what? Actually, I don't hate these underground, because this shit don't get watered down, you know what I mean?
I don't either,
man. And he's worked his ass off to get exactly where he's at, and it works for him, and he's still, you know, he does his thing, man. And, that's just cool, you know what I mean? To hear that, like, just to see that shit and, you know, see the impact he still, you know, he has on people. You know, like, I remember one time, like, he ran away to my crib, like, when we were young. Like,
He ran away to my
like,
crib.
it's because, you know, my mom's, you know, because, like, my mom's was the cool moms, you know what I mean? But, like, you know, it's just, we were just, you know, it was that comfort of, like, my house was the cool house. Like, you know, all the friends came to my house, like, brothers' friends, my friends, like, my mom's was just, you know, neighborhood, like you said, community, you know what I mean? Like, it was just, you know, we was that spot, so he felt comfortable enough to do that, which was crazy. But shout out to Avery, man. Shout out to my son Avery, aka Coda the Friend. You know what I mean, bro?
Shout out,
keep
homie.
killing it, dog. Keep killing it, please.
Yeah, man, keep inspiring, man. Keep expressing yourself out here, man. Like you touch.
You're doing it, brother, man. All right.
I don't think any of us realize how many people that we actually touch. Like,
6 degrees separation.
like with our presence and what we do and our actions and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hell yeah, bro. You out here in Florida. I'm telling you, you got fans in Florida, bro. You gotta bring that flight boy shit out to Florida, brother. Come on now. Talk to me.
We out here.
But, yeah, so actually, as far as my top 3, I would definitely put bro on my
Set
top
the
3.
interview up, nigga.
Hey, I try my best. For sure, I definitely try my best. Ain't no telling, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna, this definitely not. If we gotta take a couple notes, we'll get a yes, I promise. At one point. You know what I mean? Some point. But, as far as my top 3, like, sounds and, like, vibes that I've been on recently, as far as music in general, not really top 3, but Avery Coda, he's definitely one of the...
Wait, what were your other ones?
I ain't said to me.
Oh, that was him? Okay.
I'm starting off with him.
Make sure I missed
Yeah, his Lyrics to Go Volume 2, still to this day, is actually one of my favorite projects of all time because, like, one, it resonated with me so much. It's like being a kid from New York, you know what I mean? Like, it put that, his beats have this lovely, interesting sound of nostalgia that it puts over you. Like, it puts you in this dreamy, like, mindset, bro. When you just kind of, like, float and you can think. It opens your mind up to think. And the sounds he had on that EP was just like, it just was so, for me it was so New York, but so authentic to like what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I remember one summer I went home to go kick with my family and I was chilling on the stoop, smoking an L, like, and listening to the whole EP top to bottom, and I was just like, I'm home. Like, it just felt like, this is, I needed to do this right here. Like, this is it. And I don't know, it just, that shit just resonates with me. Like, he's beast, and it's even dope that, like, you know, I have a connection to him, but, like, just as a fan, it's amazing. So, yeah, he's definitely up there for me right now. Blast, like, we was talking about Blast. Blast is another one. Like, I like feel-good music, bro. Like, I like music that makes me feel good. Like, I can think, I could be vulnerable in, you feel me? Like, the dude who's delivering the message is vulnerable, but also still realize, nigga. You know what I mean?
That,
like,
man. I respect vulnerability, bro.
100%, because that shit is real. Like, everybody, that's the problem. You know, the whole tough guy image. Like, that shit's whack. Like, that shit is whack. You know, because it's like, that's why motherfuckers get caught up all the time. It's like, you're trying to be something all the time. You're not. Like, bro, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to, you know, have emotions. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to, you know, want to cater to your woman. Like, I feel like that's where shit got twisted. Like, there was a time frame where artists, rappers, and females, like, artists, they got together. And, you know, the male artist was telling how he felt to the woman, you know what I mean? Like, he was like Nelly Dilemma type shit, like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit kind of faded. Like,
Ja Rule
facts.
It was okay to show every side of it.
Yeah, you can still be tough and show love, like, you know what I mean? Like, I love that these guys are kind of bringing that back for me, in my opinion.
Ja Rule was my favorite.
Me too, as a kid, bro, 5 years old, 2002, body shit, but facts.
Yeah, I didn't know how to feel when he was rapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, when he was rapping. Yeah, he was like, but he was just like, oh girl, I love you. Real thug. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how to feel. I was like, bro.
Would you say music has been a therapy for you?
Oh, 100%, bro. At my job, dude, actually, I've been on a super Motown kick lately, bro.
Yeah.
Like, super.
You gotta send me some of that shit.
Like,
I find myself, like,
heavy
lately diving deeper.
I don't want to. I don't know why. I think the holidays may have, like, kind of put that in me, but like, I've been, like, every day at work, I put on 60s and 70s, like, soul music and, like, kind of like some jazzy shit, but definitely soul, man. That shit.
Because everything we got now comes from that.
From that,
it comes right from that, man. It just evolved into something else. It's inspired by all that.
Some Sam Cooke, Isley Brothers, man. Like, you know, Luther Vandross, Marvin Gaye, fucking Barry White. Like, dude, it's Smokey Robinson, Temptations, like, bro, like, Diana Ross, like, Young Mike, Jackson 5, like
That's your soul.
It is so soulful, bro. And they just that Gladys Knight, you know what I mean? Shaka Khan, Diana Ross, like they getting that bag of Aretha, you know what I mean? Like that shit, bro. Like I hear that and I'm just like, it just fit. That shit actually feels really good. They talking about real shit, but it's so like they in a time frame where they gotta really, really express themselves. You know what I mean? So I've been on a huge Motown and like 70s vibe kick recently, which has been really dope. I've also been listening to a lot of like, I've also been listening to a lot of like lo-fi, like you said as well, but Japanese style as well. Like I've been into I did some research on Japanese vinyl rooms and like that's just really dope. Like, and it's not really anything you can listen to. You gotta go in person to listen to, but it's like these little grottos, like these little super decked out like lounges, and there's some of them small, some are like decent sized big, and there's the sound system in there is everything in the world. Like it is top tier, and they spin vinyl in there, and it's an experience. Some of them they don't even like to talk. Like you just go up in there and like listen to music. And it's dope as a fan.
I can fuck with that.
Yeah. And Dante's Hi-Fi in Miami.
Oh my
Shout out
god,
Dante's
I fuck with
Hi-Fi.
that for real.
They're like that's like
just listen to music.
that was the first place that kind of got me into that because like I love old school music. I love vinyl records, but like when I went there with him actually with Xero, we were jamming the fuck out and like they were cutting it up with vinyls. Like I'm talking about straight funk, like some Motown. Like it was some real soulful shit up in there. Like you was just like, whoop, like you couldn't even stop. Like if you couldn't help but move, bro. And if you didn't, if you could sit in that room and tell me this don't move you, I'd be like, yo, you gonna have to get up out of here, bro, because this ain't even your spot. Like, your energy don't even match this frequency. Like you gotta go, like straight up. Like
facts.
you know what I mean? Because if this don't move you, I don't know what the fuck would, honestly.
You ain't got no soul.
Hell no, like straight up.
What else would?
Quite literally, you have no soul. But like, yeah, that's been my vibe lately. As well as
Have you been listening to anything more than another?
what's that?
Like
Like
the
a
three,
okay.
three you just discussed?
Yeah.
I'll answer that for him. Banner by
Nah. I mean,
Child.
that's my shit. Evil and Shinobi. Yeah, nah. Shout out Runaway, he's a beast. But I listen a little bit of everything. It's hard for me to keep up with a lot of new music, to be honest with you, because in my opinion, a lot of the mainstream shit I really don't care for like that no more. It's just because a lot of it gets watered down, a lot of it's bullshit because certain people are controlling it, and it's not as authentic in my opinion.
Yeah, I find myself going more towards underground. That's why the underground artists that I do like I don't mind that they never go mainstream.
I think underground is the new mainstream though, bro.
Yeah,
there's so many independent artists in the
Yeah.
world now that it's like if you find something you like, you stick with it. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily what's playing all around. Like it's the cool thing. You know what I mean? It's fuck that. If I don't like it, I'm not listening to it. 90% of people don't even listen to fucking radio no more. So everything is at your fingertips.
That's
like
the thing.
Spotify, you can go on there and look for somebody or find a sound that you like, and they got that person that still has a significant following, but like you just don't hear about them on like billboards and shit like that, which is still cool because at the end of the day they still make great music and that's what it's all about, right?
I think I would rather be low key though.
I think so too,
like
bro. Because if you can still make your ends and still
exactly.
travel the world,
paid,
you know what I mean? Make music, do what you love to do, but don't gotta worry about the superficial bullshit. I think that's a win-win, in my opinion. But
I take the loot. Fuck the fame.
all day, that's what it's all about. Half the motherfuckers who are that famous aren't even as rich as they seem because they don't own their shit. Somebody else owns their shit, and they get little droplets of what the fuck somebody else is doing with their shit. Like it's sad as fuck, but some people do care about that fame, or that's teacher's own. But
that's why niggas like you need to exist to watch the artist back.
cool.
They might not have the info.
You're right, but that's why I try to school them on. Like, yo, look, go. I could tell you, but like you said, some people don't want to hear. So it's like, all right, cool. Go do the knowledge for yourself, so that way you know what the fuck I'm talking about. And so that way, as the more you know, the more I know. That's one solid fist, and nobody gets fucked with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the more info, the more knowledge we got, the more we can walk up in there and play hardball. So it's like, and that's the problem. Is the more leverage you have in general, the more you're stronger as an individual artist as a whole. If you can generate everything on your own, for the most part, it's a hustle, it's harder. I mean, it's not easier. You know what I mean? But if you can muscle that shit up and generate a significant following, a significant fan base, and have a good marketing team, and stay consistent behind your music, and deliver, then you can easily make a sustainable living because you own it. You know what I mean? As long as you make sure your paperwork is right, the business side of things is right, you should be alright. You know what I mean? That's the problem is people jump at the first sign of a dollar, you feel me? Because sometimes they don't really have shit, and it's understandable completely. But they don't really look at the fine print and wind up giving away more than they got up front. In the back end, you wind up being a slave to some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fucking sweatshop worker. And yeah, it's a dirty game, yeah.
Alright, Xero, what you got? Mr. DJ, you gotta give your top 3, nigga.
You
You
did.
been listening
No, you
to?
did. You gave your top
I
three.
know you been
Drake
listening to everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. That's crazy.
Drake's one for you?
No.
Okay.
Drake is way in the bottom right now. But right now, that's tough. Okay. My favorite artist right now to calm down with, like I would say, like I would go out of my way to go listen to, like I think top 1 right now. You know, I wanna say J. Cole.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's more of a get your shit right. You know what I mean? And then he's been chilling a little bit more too. It's just like his new music is fire, his old music is fire. It's just like I find myself listening to him when I wanna like feel like I wanna zone out from everything and just kind of like feel a little bit of my roots because I grew up with listening to J. Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then 2 would be, oh man, Kendrick. I don't care. Yeah, Kendrick and Baby Keem. Can I put them 2 together? Can they be a whole
Do whatever you
package?
want. You don't gotta succumb yourself to
Yeah, I'm just saying like Kendrick and Baby Keem. Kendrick's new album is so fire. Oh my god. And then 3rd one would be Kitronada.
Never heard.
Ooh, what?
Nah.
Bass.
Kitronada.
Bass.
Beast.
K-A-T-K Trust.
No, Kaytranada.
Yeah. He's a savage, bro.
He's
DJ,
a savage.
producer.
Everything is DJ, producer, entity. Like his music is, he embodies music.
Yeah.
Literally. And that's kind of like
funky.
one of the people I look up to, you know, one of my, you know,
Idols.
idols in music. Yeah, idols, like basically, and of course Timbaland, you know what I mean? Timbaland. Can I name 3 producers that I really follow? That'll be Kitronada, Timbaland, and Kanye.
We can get into that now.
Yeah, but Kanye's tough. No, Kanye's first though. Kanye's first. Kitchenada second. And then who else did I say again? Timbaland. No, Timbaland second, and then Kitchenada third.
Gotcha.
Yeah, those are my favorites. Yeah.
That's what I'll. Topic of conversation with producers is a whole.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
I'll sit there for another 45 minutes.
So we got about half an hour, and I wanted to go down the panel again. I wanted to talk about keywords. Keywords of the year. I'll start it. But keywords as far as what you learned this year. You know what I'm saying? What words have stuck out? What's stuck out to you? I know for me, patience is number 1. Patience is it's really been everything. Like we're only here because of patience. You know what I'm saying? Creating all this is still taking patience because it's still, you know, being ever created. You know what I'm saying? I would say truth as well, especially being like true to myself, man. Like this is more important than anything. Like seeing through your own bullshit if you got any. You know what I'm saying? And not only just seeing it, but actually kind of keeping an eye on it. It's almost like you gotta keep tabs on yourself in a way. You know what I'm saying? You have to be aware of when you might be fucking leaning to the left a little more. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta be. And that takes being like real honest. Like you gotta be able to critique yourself. You know what I'm saying? Not beat yourself down, but you gotta be able to critique yourself and really put, you know, actions forward to change whatever you see that is not appealing to you about yourself. You know what I'm saying? And you also have to be aware of how your energy affects people. Because you know how you were saying, like, I remember we did our first interview and you were like, I just wanted my presence to be felt in this house.
That's okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel as well, man. So whenever I'm, especially in a group setting, I want to make sure that I'm aware of like what my presence is creating in this whole spectrum of everything. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm one piece of this whole thing, but without that piece, without that piece, without that piece, without that piece, it's not a fucking whole thing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? So we all got to be on top of ourselves. That way, this cycle just keeps fucking smooth, nigga. Smooth. You know what I'm saying? So I would say patience, truth, and belief, man. Cause bro, I've been to like get my dreams fulfilled and shit like that without having to go the quick route, without having to fuck a nigga over and shit like that. Like, this shit takes patience and belief in yourself, man. And, you know, going back to Haiti, I felt like I went over there to fucking gain strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I came back home, I was like, you know what? I got challenged because the niggas, I pretty much went over there and got my ass whooped for 9 days. But you know what I'm saying? Like, nigga like me that does shit like that, and, you know, for me to be challenged like that, I knew it was going to challenge me. Going back to that spiritual side of it, that's why I knew I had to fucking go. I was like, I know this is going to challenge me, man. Yeah. So I went through that, came back, and I knew when I came back, it's just something, I don't know what it was. I knew when I came back I wasn't going to be different, bro. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't going to be the same. So, you know what I'm saying? And it was true, man. Now, that shit gave me, that fueled into my belief. Me going over there, dealing with that, going through that, getting through it, you know what I'm saying? Just fuels my belief in me. And now, it's like, now I feel like there's nothing I can't fucking do. Yeah. But I'm not just saying it, nigga. I walk in that shit. Like, I've just proven so much to myself. Yeah. And that's all it's taking. Mm-hmm. I don't got shit to prove to no fucking body else but me. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, man, it's just helped me gain a lot of belief in myself, man. It's made me pursue what I really want to do even more. Because I know I can fucking do it. And I no longer have those fucking fears. That's the biggest thing. No longer have that fear of, what if I lose this? What if I lose that? Yeah. It's just fucking confidence moving forward. You know what I'm saying? And clarity, nigga. I can see my vision, nigga. Yeah. I see it. I'm molding it, nigga. Like, I'm seeing it up here. Now I'm molding it. Nigga, now we sitting here in the physical. You know what I'm saying? I've realized what the fuck power I got. I realize it now. That shit,
manifestation. Nigga,
that shit's no longer a mystery to me. We all got the same amount of motherfucking, we all got the same power, nigga, to create whatever the fuck we want. It's just gonna take some motherfucking time, nigga. Some time, some effort. You're gonna need some good resources. You're gonna need some good people. You're gonna need some guidance. There's a lot of shit you're gonna need. A lot of shit that you have to implement into your life. Yeah. Like, say if your life is a clean slate, think about, okay, I want to put some of this in there, some of that in there, some of this in there. I'm looking over there at that, fuck that, I ain't putting that in there. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to create in your life. You know what I'm saying?
To touch up on that, that's perfect because one of the things I learned this year was letting go. Like, letting go, bro.
Yeah, that's so fucking big.
That's... Everybody has their own... I can't tell you how I do it because you have...
Well, no, we'll explain your way.
Alright, so how it happened for me was it's just like... because I was so... I can't even explain it, man. I was so sure of myself, you know what I mean? So sure of myself about, let's say, the producing thing before I DJ and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I was so sure of myself, and I didn't want to let anything, you know, deviate me from doing that, you know what I mean? It was just like, oh, this only, and I just didn't want to do anything else. And then after just kind of like, just actually understanding, people were saying it to me, you know, just remember it. I just didn't want to listen to what was being presented to me, you know what I mean? People had been telling me this, you know what I mean? To do this and this and that, and I just didn't want to listen. Letting go for me was like knowing how to try some, like, give it a try at least, receive. It's like, it's not even letting go at that point. It's just like you're making room for something else. Yeah. Open your mind. That was the biggest thing for me because I tried to fill void by myself. You know,
I can speak personally with him that.
Yeah, I try to fill some spaces, you know, in my life by myself. You will see it. You know, individually you would know what it is. and you will see, oh, I don't want to repeat that same pattern anymore. Just because I keep putting myself there to repeat the same thing because it's such.
I'm sorry to cut you off. That's the fucking key to everything. What you just said is that you put yourself there.
Yeah.
We all put ourselves in where the fuck we are.
Yeah.
If you want to look outside for an external factor that got you there, nigga, you fucking kidding yourself. All you gotta do is look in the mirror, nigga.
Yeah.
And know why you are where you are. You know what I'm saying?
That was the biggest lesson I've ever learned, like to let go. And then just, I met this dude, you know what I mean? I met Tsunami, I met Eli, I met you guys. It was just like I wasn't letting go of that. I guess you say family feeling, you know what I mean?
Wasn't like go a lot of your hurt, probably.
Like, huh? Yeah,
A lot of your hurt.
A lot of the hurt, like a lot of the, trying to build whatever imagination you have in your head about what things should be. That's the main thing I would say. There's no ways.
Would you say that you went? Sorry, cut you off. Would you say that?
Get on the mic.
Yeah.
Would you say that you had a hard time letting go of like old, like thoughts and ways in order to let new ones in? Like,
yeah, exactly. Because I was living in my head. I was literally just trying to live a picture. Like how I view how my life should be. But that's not what's going on. You feel me?
Not accepting what
not
it was.
accepting what it was and what is happening. You know what I mean? So it just got this year. I just learned to just bring that all the way down and be like, okay, those are just possibilities of what my life could be. But that's not what's happening right now. And it taught me a fat lesson.
Did it liberate you?
Yeah, it did.
Like inside?
It really did inside. Because I realized everything I asked for as a kid, I have now. It's just the extent of it. I want something more now. You know what I mean? I have it. I have everything I've ever wanted. You know what I mean? I've ever thought of as a kid. Where I am, and being in America, and Haiti being in America. I thought of all that shit, and just like all of it. You know what I mean? All of it is happening right now. It's just the extent of it. Now there's new goals, new stuff, and it's just like I need to understand like those are not governing my thoughts right now and how I react right now because now I have to work towards that. The new thoughts and the new way of being, basically. Yeah, it's just like we have a hard time of accepting that this is our imagination is not our real life. You know what I mean? It's so hard to explain. I don't even know how to.
There's one thing I always tell myself when I'm having some fucked up thoughts. I always tell myself I'm not my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because I'm thinking it, that's not me.
Yeah.
You feel me?
That goes as the conversation you and Cam was having last night.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just realizing if those three don't connect, the dick, the fucking heart, and the fucking mind, don't do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, literally. You know what I'm talking about? Like all three of the connection. If you feel it from your mind, your heart, and your dick don't want it, if all three of them don't connect, it's not for you.
I feel like you're talking from a chakra standpoint.
Yeah, you're talking
real
from
talk.
a chakra
Because you got your root and then
your
your heart,
heart, and your mind.
That's where your life, man. Yeah.
That's the biggest lesson this year. If you don't feel in all these three, don't do it. But at the same time, it's so hard to pinpoint. You know what I mean?
That's the ongoing process right there.
Yeah.
What about you, Sue?
I would say the three biggest three key words for me. Definitely patience for sure. Learning how to, when things don't necessarily go the way you should see it, maybe, or want it to go.
Would you call yourself an impatient man?
Sometimes, yeah, 100%. And it's because I think it's because I see how I want it to play out, but not everything always, like you said, not everything always lines up like that. You know what I mean? So you gotta learn how to adapt. Accept, but also learn how to compromise to get what you want out of the situation while also working with the person to get what they want. And it's called meeting of the minds, in my opinion, where y'all bring y'all shit together, you agree, y'all agree your differences, but you also do your work. So with patience, I don't know. Patience with just a lot of things in life, bro. Not even just work, music, none of that, just breathing. taking a step back and like living in the moment
Yeah.
instead of like being so amped up on the past and the future.
Yeah.
Just kind of like living and being grounded in the time frame of where I'm at and like accepting my surroundings, living my surroundings and be patient in that aspect. Like, cool out. Like, you know what I mean?
I got a question. Do you guys think impatience stems from a lack of gratitude for where you are?
I can see that.
Like wanting more?
Yes and no.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes and no. And I think
that goes. Before we go real quick. That goes back to what I was saying. Like the impatience. We get our energies very confused because we try. I guess it's society's fault. We don't know what's going on because we want these new things and we think it's like gonna happen right now because of how we are raised, because of how society is. We get that instant gratitude, instant gratification all the time, and so the mind. So as the mind, it was just like some people get that confused with, okay, this is new thoughts, this is new things I want. You know what I mean? Instead of actually being patient, be like, okay, I'm gonna work on this. You know what I mean? Instead of that happening, we find ourselves like, man, I'm not there already. We're living in our brains.
Yeah, I'm not there. I'm not there. I want to be there right now.
I want to be there right now. So yeah, that's what.
And also, people compare a lot. People compare their lives to each
That's
other.
Which
is the worst thing. That's like the biggest root of all evil. Like,
of course.
It's the number one killer that happens right there. It's
That's
comparing comparing yourself to somebody else.
That's very. Oh my God.
I stopped comparing myself to other people and started comparing myself to myself. And I think that helped a lot. And by that I mean like a year ago, I wanted to be a dog trainer. 2 years ago, I wanted to be a dog trainer, and then now I'm a dog trainer. Like 2 years ago, I wanted this, now I have it. Like just little things like that.
Going back and like reflecting and like comparing.
Absolutely, comparing like things that like I didn't have before. Like when I first moved out of my mom's house, I like kind of lose sight of this at times, and this is why I started practicing this. When I first moved out, I had a bed on the floor, a dresser, and a TV, and then clothes. Like that was about it. So then, like, now I live in a 2-bedroom house, and, I have furniture that's mine. I have a nice TV, like, and these are all materialistical things that, at the end of the day, I think about it, I'm like, none of this shit matters, because you're way happier not way happier, but you were just as happy probably just owning a mattress and a TV and a dresser than you are now with a lot of materialistical shit. But it sets you up in a mindset of, like, but, like, now you have, kind of like what you were talking about, like, now I have everything I ever wanted, like, thinking about as a kid.
Structure.
Everything. Like, not just structure, but just shit. Shit. Shit that you're like, I wanted this cool figurine, I wanted this, I wanted that. And then you start collecting cool shit. And then you start to realize, what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
And so some of those thought processes start to kick in okay, what's the next step? Now I have to, like, maybe look for a house, or maybe move out of state, or like what's the next growth process if I'm not moving here? Like if things are not popping off here, like where can I go? What's the next step? What can I invest in? What can I look into to start accelerating the process of where I want to be at?
Yeah.
And then when I started comparing myself to myself of like past years of, a year ago I wanted a gaming PC. Now I have one.
That's
those are like little things, and I'm like, damn, bro, like you're there, but like now what? Like, what are you gonna do with that, possession? Like, which I've talked with you about it. The gaming PC not only is for gaming and entertainment, but I want to edit my own videos. I want to start doing podcasts like this. Like, there's a lot. Like, it's a process of ideas and manifestations over time, honestly.
Realizing
that you start realizing that the little thing doesn't matter, and then you start to always have you start to think about what investments are smarter for you. So not only did I get a PC for my personal entertainment, but also for business. And this is where like balance starts to come into play of like, that's a necessary evil for this, and it also can feed this as well. So it helps you out to kind of find the mid ground between
what you want and what you need
and what you actually need.
Yeah.
And like, is there things that can fulfill both of those things in one? Like, why not go for it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like what I've been building off of is like, I don't want a console because console is limited to only playing video games and wasting time. But if I get a gaming PC, like I can do anything I can imagine on a PC, editing, whatever, any of those things.
You're right.
And so I was like, why not go for that?
All in
one.
So now,
Like I'm
it's a
contemplating
process
a
of
console,
comparing myself to where I was to where I am now, and then that way you start to be more grateful about the things that you have and the things that you didn't have before. You know, it could have been just like, for example, I have a bed frame now.
Yeah.
Didn't have a bed frame when I first moved out. Like little purchases that almost make you feel like your life is a little bit more put together.
Yeah, exactly. That's facts.
But those things are necessary though, bro, because those are little steps. Like, you know how they say do daily goals? Like, don't shoot for like a year goal, like a lifetime goal. You start off with daily tasks and daily goals. Then once you get that down, then you do the weekly, then the monthly, and then next you know, your goals becomes second nature. You just start.
Because you start hitting them. You know,
incentives.
You know what also helped with that is the gym.
Yeah, 100%.
The gym, because I got back into the team. Fuck the confidence, bro.
But if you feel good, you look good.
Look good. For sure. Helps. I definitely higher the confidence level, but I always felt like I had a high confidence level within myself.
For sure.
But what it helped with was consistency, self-discipline, and then meeting goals. Because I was so out of shape that like shit that I was picking up 5 years ago or whatever was nowhere near what I started picking up when I went back to the gym because how fat I was. You know what I mean? And just not doing enough exercises and shit. So started with little like goals of I'm gonna like add 10 pounds this week or like 5 pounds this week. And then you were hitting those numbers and then you're getting used to them and then you're hitting bigger numbers and then bigger numbers and bigger numbers and that started to help with not wanting instant gratification because that shit's almost unreal.
Yeah.
You gotta work for shit. You gotta work for the gym. You gotta work for your career. You gotta work for whatever you want to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to be the best fucking janitor ever to fucking exist, you gotta work on that shit every single fucking day. So it doesn't matter what it is, you just have to focus and be consistent on it. And that's something that I've like come to realize this year is consistency, self-discipline, and little things like that go a long way.
So that's patience was mine. I would definitely say consistency, faith, belief, as well as like self-discipline. Those are the ones that I'm practicing on. So they stand out to me because I really want to hone on those myself.
Mm-hmm. And faith doesn't necessarily mean like a religion.
No.
I feel like a lot of people are lost in that. Faith has to do with like believing in yourself.
100%.
Because it can be weird. Even so there's a meme that I think about like frequently, and it's when you start the gym, people are like, "Oh, you're really going to the gym?" Like they kind of give you a little shit, right? Like, "Oh, you're gonna get strong," blah 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 blah. And then you start going, and then changes start to happen, like in your body, which I experienced. You know, you start to look a little better, and people are like, "Hey man, you're looking good. You're looking slim. You're looking swole. Whatever." Blah 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 blah. And then it goes from like a weird process of like people kind of hating on you and giving you shit for starting something. And then when you become consistent, they're like, "Oh, shit, we see you." Even with the dog trainer shit, like that happened with not just the gym, but dog training. Like I started telling people, like I'm a dog trainer, and like some of my fucking friends laughed. They're like, no, you're not." And I'm like, "Do you think I just like made that up to look cool or what?" Like it was just weird that you go through these process of disbelief from your own. Like I think what fucks you up is your own people. It'd be your own people, and you also start to peep who really believes in you from the beginning, and the people that were kind of like ride-alongs, but maybe they're OG like friends that you're like, whatever, bro, fuck it. Like you went through your process. But the people that believe from you from the beginning to the people that like kind of gave you that shit, it's weird to see how they believe with you in you, and they'll tell you like, "I knew you had it in you. Like I told you go do that shit. Like I told you go be a DJ. I told you go be a fucking manager." Like those people are the ones that kind of like matter per se the most, because the other people, it doesn't matter, bro. They're just gonna ride whatever train they think is correct. Like if they think they gotta be, I don't know, a fucking lawyer, whatever you're doing, again, your goal could be the best janitor in the world. They're gonna laugh at you. They don't give a fuck. But then once you get there, and then all of a sudden, you could be on TV for some shit like that. Then the people are like a little bit more interested in you,
Yeah.
So I think that faith in yourself from the beginning is the most important thing for whatever you're doing. Like if you want to be the best fucking producer, the best DJ, the best manager, like you really have to feed that to yourself and believe it every day as an affirmation, because people will doubt you, people will fucking like rag on you, people will talk shit, people will try you, and that can be discouraging at times. But as long as you stay true to like, I want to be a dog trainer. For in my case, like I thought about that for years. I was saying I was going to do shit with dogs, and then eventually, like 3 years ago, I said dog trainer. Like that's what I'm going to chase. Got mentor and all that shit, but I set that goal, and I didn't care what other people said. Like other people were like, "Oh, you should maybe like get into sales. Like your personality is for it. Oh, you do this. Like everyone has their own opinion on like what you should be." And when people ask me like why you went with dog training, it was because it made my inner child happy. Like it was something that dogs, like even when I told my mom, she was like, "You're so right." She was like, "You have always had a weird connection with animals." She was like, "Not just dogs, like you've always had an interest in like horses and dogs and this and that." And it all just came together, and I was like, "Dude, this is probably something that's gonna make me way happier than trying to pursue anything else, like being a lawyer, being a doctor, or being a fucking programmer, or anything that anyone ever mentioned to me that, like, oh, you're smart, you should follow this route." I never really knew what I wanted to do until a couple of years ago.
No, I want to touch upon what you just said as far as that was all great, by the way. Thank you for that.
That
was
actually
really the way you broke that down. But the inner child thing, that's fucking
bro.
That's the one.
That
actually like I was like, yo, what? And music all through and through. Like when I listen to music, when I listen to throwback music, I get this jittery feeling where I'm like, yo, that's it. That's where I need to be. This is my love. Like,
absolutely.
And as many times as I've tried to get away from it, the moment I hear music and I look and I dive into something with music and I see organizations about it, like, and you know, like history on it, I'm like that little kid in me, I'm like, nah, I need to do this shit now. Like this is me. Like I know
it's what fuels you.
Yeah, like this is, I know this is like me. So that was like cool, but it's like because I never really knew how to explain what made me always go towards music, as well as managing, production, A&R, like all that. I just want to be involved with it and the overall picture of the music because I love the music and I love how it feels. I love how it makes people feel. I love the nostalgia it can create and the timepieces that it can create for people. Because you can almost guarantee I can ask every single person in this room at a different time place where you were in your life what song resonated with you in that time frame. I guarantee you can say it. You can give something, and you remember that year, you remember that place, like, and you remember that feeling. Music is probably one of the only things that can do that. Movies, yeah, but movies span such between a wide variety of time. Yeah, so like for instance, The Goonies to me is one of my favorite movies of all time. That shit came out in 1985. So you get what I'm saying? Whereas like, you asked me how I felt in 2002 when Ja Rule Put It On Me came out, like. How I can easily resonate where I was in my life at that time frame, and like,
you probably start dancing too.
Yeah, exactly. But I know, like, I remember the feeling I had when I heard it. I remember where I was at while I heard it. Like, and I can't say that that's for everybody else, but for me, that's where it's like, where my love for music, like, that shit hit me, like, where I hear it, and I'm just like, nah, like, this is me. Like, I've always been embodied by it. Like, it's the energy, just.
No. The inner child thing for real, like feeling actually what you want to do. I remember my earliest memories of music, like making it, was actually being on stage freestyling when I was 3 years old. Like as a kid in French and shit. Just like in front of people, just trying to rile up the parents and the kids, and everybody was just loving it, and I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the first ever big memory of me ever with music. You know, and it just like made me so happy that people were happy. You know what I mean? And then it was like months and weeks. People would just ask me to do stuff and be, sing a song and sync and everything. Since I was a kid, they used to ask me, and I forgot. You know how many years I went forgetting that? You know what I mean? Forgetting I used to be that kid that did that, and forgetting why I want to do it so bad this time. You know, it's just like, it was crazy. It was just, people used to ask me all the time, and I always did it because they were happy in their face, and looking at them from my perspective, you know what I mean? It was just like, it would make them so happy. And as a kid, because of everything that went on, again, you know what I mean? Not having both my parents there and everything. So it was just like, that was my way of just making somebody else happy because it made me happy. You know what I mean? I don't know, but actually I do. But that's what made it, for me, like a very childhood thing, you know what I mean? The whole music thing, just following what you actually, for example, following actually what you really want to do in life is actually going back to your childhood, bro. Like literally.
I think tapping into our childhood energy as adults is fucking super important.
Super important.
I think we have to remain that, man. That shit keeps us fucking innocent and imaginative and not tripping off bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very creative and very how can I say, like friendly. Like, you know what I mean? Like most people are just too judgmental now. Like I'm saying with adults, like I don't know what happened, man. We just are very too judgmental against each other. You know what I mean? And as a kids, just okay, your shoes are untied or your shoes ugly. You know what I mean? And we didn't take offense to that. You know what I mean? Maybe we did, but at the same time, we just playing around. You know, we just don't care.
I definitely think that the reason why people lose the inner child touch is because throughout years you kind of go trying to figure out who you are as a person, like who yourself is. And personally, I want to say it wasn't until 25 or 28 where I really started to think about these things. Where I was probably 24 maybe, where I started to think whoa, who am I? What do I like? Mm-hmm. And I started asking my mom questions. So I talk to my mom at least once a week. And I started asking Mom, what did I have interest in? What did I do when I was a kid? What did you see made me happy?
I did ask my mom that too.
There was things that she brought up. And I was okay, animals was one. She said I was into building and Legos. And I was okay, that makes sense. I like putting shit together. Of course I was into that. But once I started asking those questions of, who am I? What am I going to be? What do I want? Dogs always made me happy. Going into someone's house and seeing a dog. I was definitely the weirdo that was sitting in the corner talking to your dog before I was talking to anybody else in the house. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm playing with the dog or throwing the ball with him and have no fucking clue.
They walk in the door. Hey.
You literally, that's kind of how I've been for a while. So I knew I wanted to do something with dogs. I just didn't know what. Talking to my mom, kind of set in place that I love animals. I've always had a genuine love more for animals than probably people. So I was yeah, man, I have to do this. I don't care what I have to do, but I have to chase being a dog trainer. At least trying it out.
At least trying it out.
At least
that's
fucking trying. Because there was a lot of stuff out, and I was just fucking do it. And everyone was do it, do it, do it. Everyone was supporting it, and enough people said it that I was dude, I got people from all random fucking walks of life and different circles, people that don't even know each other, all telling me to do it. I was I gotta do it. And that's how I ended up being a dog trainer, is following that inner child that just made me happy. And that can go too with relationships. That's something I realized too.
That's how kids are too. They try everything. We tried everything.
Yeah, because you're more open to it.
Open to it, and we tried everything. And now it's just we operating out of fear, and it's not working.
Yeah.
It is.
It's innocence and lack of ignorance, right? That's what I think with the inner child is just innocence. It's before your mind. I wouldn't necessarily say they're corrupted, but you start soaking in a bunch of shit. You have different things as you get older. When you were first born, when you 3 years old, you go walk up to a kid and be hey, you want to be my friend in a matter of seconds. And it's that simple. Yep. Whereas you get older, you start to see how people can be.
Mistrust.
You had friends growing up, and when you were young, who might have did something that hurt you. You feel me? Where it's you learn what trust is, you learn what untrust is. You know what I mean? There's as you get older, there's things real life shit that you go through that will, I don't want to say make or break you, but it molds you into certain characteristics and personalities, and you have to, as you get older, you have to find your way through these different things. You be okay, how do I deal with this shit? Who the fuck am I when this type of shit goes on? It's a whole. I think finding yourself is always going to be a lifelong thing because you're going to keep growing. You should want to keep growing and elevating and opening yourself up to new things. You should constantly keep learning as much as you can. Of course, that's never ending, to be honest. Unless I guess you shut it off, but I don't even think you can do that. I don't think that's possible. But as far as the inner child thing, as far as relationships, when you say that, what makes you happy as a child, when you in relationships, what do you mean by that?
I mean that in friendships, and I mean that in actual your spouse relationship, the person you want to be your partner. I've come to realize that friends that feed that inner child are probably friends that are gonna be beside you for a long time.
I feel that.
And it starts like once you start opening up and becoming more vulnerable, and kind of going back to the conversation of society has you at this as a male, you gotta be this tough guy, you gotta be the fucking badass and fucking just take shit to the chin. But like in reality, as humans, we have to be vulnerable, man. We have to be able to. Maybe not with everybody.
You shouldn't want to express yourself with everybody.
But the people that you know.
One moment, hate to interrupt. I'm gonna stop this video so that way I can start a fresh one, and then we'll be free to talk without being rushed, and then we can all give our last words.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? Last little message.
Just
So we will be back with the Shinobi round part 2, baby.
hang in, dogs, hang in.